Hello, welcome to this your channel of the better Eurofan. That's me. This time we start a new series discovering little by little the artists that will participate in the next edition of the contest that will be held in Basel, Switzerland after the victory of the Alpine country in Swedish lands on last May. We start this time with Ukraine, which keeps consolidating as a true Eurovision superpower despite the difficult contest that is still living due to the warfare with Russia. The last proof of that was the impactful proposal presented by the singers Aliona and Jerry Hill, who achieved a quite outstanding third place in the final ranking during last year's contest. There wasn't any doubt that they will move forward with their participation, and it is because the contest represents more than a musical competition for the country. It represents a communication platform that should not be lost, to remind the rest of the world that they are still there. Now we will see who will be the artists that will take the baton from them by representing the Slavic country in Basel. Here we go. For today's episode, I'm going to review the Ukrainian entry for Eurovision 2025, which will be represented by the group Ziferblat with the song Bird of Prey. They have already started to get a name for themselves in the Ukrainian musical scene recently, and now they will also try it in the rest of Europe. Let's then begin with the review. Firstly, we will check out the biography and career of them before embarking in their Eurovision adventure in Switzerland. Ziferblat is a Ukrainian alternative rock band forming from the country's capital, Kiev. It will have its beginnings around 2015, where the twin brothers Danilo and Valentin Leszczynski decided to start a musical project with old friends from the school where they both studied. The band will begin to perform in different musical festivals nationwide, releasing in the process their debut EP independently during 2017. Later, by 2019, they will decide to try their luck by intending to participate in the 10th season of the Ukrainian version of the X Factor, although they will not advance from the preliminary audition phase. During that process, Fedor Kodara will join the band as a replacement drummer, but he will become eventually a permanent member until nowadays. Since then, the trio is formed by Danilo as a vocalist, Valentin as the guitarist, and Fedor as the drummer. Sometime later in 2022, they will resume their activity after the COVID-19 pandemic by releasing many singles since then and starting to have their first attempts to represent their country at Eurovision. At the end of that same year, they appear among the long-listed artists to participate in the 7th edition of Big Beer, but they ultimately did not appear among the finalists. Although they did not make it that time, that did not stop them from releasing their debut studio album during 2023, with which they will get much more attention and recognition in the Ukrainian musical scene. They will make another attempt during last year at Big Beer, having been chosen this time as one of the finalists. They will participate with the song Place I Call Home, with which they were close for winning the edition, being the runners-up behind Aliona and Jerry Hill, who eventually represented the country in the edition held on last year in Malmö, Sweden. We could suppose in this case that having been almost going to Eurovision, they will look to try again this year to have their rematch, without imagining that this time they will finally achieve it. Let's see then how ended up that second attempt in the national final. Following their usual strategy, the Ukrainian public broadcaster will organize what it went to be the 9th edition of their national final Ziferblat to select both the artist and the song that will represent the country in Switzerland. The submission period will be open between mid-September and early November of last year for the Ukrainian artists and songwriters who wanted to take part in the national final, keeping the same rules already implemented in recent editions. After the deadline, it was known that the broadcaster had received a total of 374 proposals, representing a slight decrease compared to the last edition. Afterwards, the review of all the received proposals will be led by singer Tina Karol, who was the Ukrainian representative at Eurovision in 2006, being appointed by the broadcaster as well as the artistic director for the edition, to have the 20 shortlists that will advance to the live audition round. After that round, in last December, 9 of them will be announced in last mid-November as the contestants that will participate in the televised show, being Ziferblat among the chosen ones, having been reselected after having participated in the last edition, and there was also that 10 contestants chosen among the remaining 10 artists, because one of them ended up withdrawing from the process after the auditions through a public vote in last mid-January, releasing at the same time the final candidates, songs that will participate in the televised show. That show took place earlier this month, where the winner will be determined as well with the combination of the votes from the jury and the public. After the performances of all the finalists, the voting results revealed that the guys from Ziferblat were the second most voted artists from the jury, while they were the absolute favorites from the public, scoring the points needed to get the victory in the national final and gaining, after 2 attempts, the right to represent Ukraine on the main stage of Basel. A story of relatives and beloved ones separated by the war. Now we are going to discover a little more about this proposal with which they will participate at the contest. This time the melody combines alternative rock with Ukrainian traditional music, having a closer approach to the musical side they have been using in their first musical works, with a quite experimental sound and uncommon rhythms compared to those commonly used in classic rock. Danilo's voice as the band's vocalist is pretty good in my opinion, which has also the strong character. It comes to attention as well that the song incorporates some opera singing, I guess from a guest soprano, as well as the typical Ukrainian choir usually listened in its folk music. Talking about the lyrics, it has been written in Ukrainian and English by the 3 members of the band, which, according to them, it will represent a continuation of the topic discussed in the song A Place I Call Home, with which they have participated in the previous edition of Big Bird, although from a different perspective. The verses are performed in Ukrainian while the chorus is performed in English. In fact, analyzing its context, it tells the story of the Ukrainians that have been separated due to the war with Russia, which can be extrapolated, however, to anyone who have been inevitably separated from its loved ones. In this sense, the verse symbolizes, in addition to peace and freedom, that messenger which brings that emotional or insecure connection to those who cannot see each other because of the war. This same story is very personal for them, as well as, like many of their fellow countrymen, their respective families had to migrate to different countries as refugees. Reading the lyrics more in detail, previously translated of course, you can see that dialogue of this bird of prey, so they can send this message to those who are still far from home, hoping they could come back someday when everything has passed. Taking into account all the context described previously, the message of the song is quite implicit. Being a track with an unconventional structure and with a very personal context to them, it was about to see how they would reflect it through the official music video. The plot begins with a close-up of Danilo that moves away little by little while the song intro is heard, seeing that he is in an empty office building. During the first verse, Danilo is seen walking or running inside the office building, and then in the first chorus, he is now with his bandmates performing the song with their musical instruments on a circular red carpet in the middle of one of the floors in the building, with spinning shots and individual close-ups of the 3 of them alternating. The dynamic remains similar in the second verse and the second chorus. Thereafter in the bridge, Danilo is seen running through the same empty floor, and then by the last chorus there is a shot of him with his head lying on the red carpet before, until it goes back to the succession of shots of the back. Towards the end of the music video with the song's outro, there is a wide shot of Danilo in the middle of the circular red carpet with a single line on, which gets closer little by little, ending in a close-up, thus finishing the performance. If the song is already not conventionally sound, the music video has not been either, so it was about to see how they will set up the staging during the national final. Let's see then how was their live performance during their second participation at Big Bird. Recalling the staging in the national final, it begins with the stage almost in dark featuring a warm but tenuous lighting, seeing Danilo together with backing singers, one of them doing the operatic part as it can be heard in the studio recording of the track. The shots get away little by little, then seen to Valentin and Fede with their musical instruments, and you can also appreciate a sub-country garden in most of the stage. With the first verse, Danilo walks to the front of the stage while the lightning gets more intense and the visual graphics start to show various color stripes. About the costumes, all of them are using outfits in the same blue, pink and purple tones like the ones they wore in the music video, while the backing singers are wearing purple outfits. By the first chorus, the visual graphic starts to show a clear sky with some clouds which disappear again just before the second verse. The dynamic is pretty similar until the second chorus, and then during the bridge all the LED screens fade out while the lighting gets more energetic in red and white tones. For the last chorus, the spotlights are focused on Danilo while the visual graphics reappear again with gradients resembling a sunset, remarking a few moments in which there are two blackouts, matching with the most intense parts of the performance, and then the lighting becomes predominantly blue. Finally, with the song's outro, an imagery of a sunset starts to spread out until filling all the last screens, then finishing the performance. Suddenly, it was a very solid and well-executed performance. The feeling they want to transmit with the song is quite noticeable and keeps you attentive. The vocal skills from Danilo stand out, who performs the song flawlessly, and he has a very strong stage presence himself, and the harmonies together with the backing singers brings much more depth to the performance as well. Maybe the only difficulty was to understand the meaning of the staging, although there is no doubt that the proposal has conquered both the jury and the public. Making a summary of the comments so far, the Ukrainian entry for this year is different. This time, unlike last year, the proposal makes reference, although indirectly in this case, to the warfare still faced by the country. Somehow it is still an unavoidable reality which lives and will still leave a mark in the creative process for most of the Ukrainian artists, until it changes on time. Historically, songs in the genres of alternative or progressive rock have had mixed outcomes in the competition. Although being talking about Ukraine, that is also delivering a quite strong message, I think it can generate a good impact in the audience. Personally, it is not a proposal that amazes me that much, although I cannot deny that it has potential by playing with that mystic and impactful character at the same time. For the staging in Basel, I could affirm that they will take most of the one presented to the international final with a few adjustments adapted to the shape of the stage. Probably we will see them presenting the proposal live in many of the Eurovision parties of the season until they eventually make the final stop on the main stage of next May. This has been the Ukrainian proposal of this year for the contest. Maybe I did not get convinced too much, although I would like to know what do you think about it, even if you like it or if it does have left you indifferent. Either way, leave your comments down below so we can keep the discussion. And this is it for today's episode. As this video has been of your taste, then take a few moments to give a like, thus you can help me bringing in your support so that it can be reached to much more people. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not done it yet, enable notifications by hitting the bell, and follow me through my social media. Take care and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.